All right, hello, hello, hello. Looks like the bar is moving. So it looks like the sound is probably okay tonight. You guys just let me know how the sound check goes. We can move on from there. Man, I gotta say, so I normally, as it's counting down on like the stream software, I typically always have it up live also on kind of like my monitor split. And I only had a 2 second delay tonight. I think that's the smallest delay I've ever had. Typically it's like 4 to 5 normally, but I've never seen it be almost this close. That's pretty crazy. All right, cool. Thank you. All right, so birds may be a little bit loud. We were waiting for our Amazon delivery today of their bird food, and we didn't get it. So they had a little bit of seed this morning, and now they're jacked up on apples and blueberries and some corn and some rice and some celery. They tore the celery up. So yeah, so they're a little bit jacked tonight. So if they're a little bit loud, guys, I apologize right now. But remember, this microphone is aimed kind of in their direction, so it picks up all sounds. So yeah, hopefully they're not too crazy, but we'll see. All right, so for those of you that are asking, the girl is okay. We had to do the immediate care visit last night. She ended up getting a pressure bandage. She was okay. Man, 5 seconds, she decided to stick her finger in a can of beans. I literally had just opened it, dumped it, put it on the countertop so I could mix it, and then I was going to walk it outside, and in that time, she decided to stick her finger right in the can and then try to pull it out, and the lid kind of came back up, and she couldn't get out. Nice slice. Yeah, it was pretty deep. So, yeah, not bleeding anymore. We changed the bandage tonight. We were successful, but the little one is okay. I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, I've scarred the baby. But, yeah. Yeah, the birds are jacked on celery. Unbelievable. But yeah, so yeah, she's not mad at me. Many jelly beans and Hershey Kisses later. She is good to go. Hey. You know what? Actually, I'm going to open their door real quick. Maybe they'll come out. Oh, you want to come out? Come on. Yeah. All right. The funny thing is the cat is actually sleeping on the chair behind me. I'm curious. When they see the cat, they attack the cat. I'm curious to see if they will go after the cat. But anyway, yeah. So it's a little half-inch mark on her pointer finger on her right hand. So she was eating left-handed today. But yeah, she's fine. Is what it is. I guess kids are gonna get injured, but not always the most fun thing. Literally within 5 seconds, that girl stuck her finger in the can. I was like, no, and I saw it when she was kind of getting it out. So thankfully, nothing worse. All right, so. Market-wise today, lots of movement today. This is probably one of the busiest Mondays we've had really in 2012. Yeah, growing pains, right? My sister goes, yeah, remember when Aiden busted his head and we just, we didn't take him. We probably should have. He should have had stitches, but he survived. He's 12 now. I was like, yeah, she's 2. But yeah, so this is a lot of movement. This is the most movement I think we've had on a Monday. Really, maybe besides that one really big weekend. That one COVID weekend. But I think overall across the board, as far as the most movement in the most pairs, this is probably it. And it's kind of all over the place. There's all kinds of stuff. You can see just a little while ago, New Zealand Central Bank could expand QE. The Fed basically, said we will backstop the stock market. Our pockets are deep. They are I think they said bottomless, basically. So we will not let it crash. And obviously, everything kind of moved in accord to it. I just heard a little while ago that New York, I guess not New York City, but Western New York is basically opening up as well. I have a friend that lives up there he's an EMT, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what the heck they're thinking. But yeah, I know, Maryland, we opened up on Friday at 5 p.m. And today there was reports back that there was hundreds of people downtown in Annapolis. Again, not a big city, but not wearing masks. So I'm pretty sure by next weekend we will be completely locked down again. So hopefully we take the Georgia route, not the Texas route. I know you guys in Texas are having some increase in cases as well. So, yeah. But overall, guys, Euro was just absolutely on fire. From the open yesterday, was just straight up more or less. Obviously, a little bit of a pullback in that one, but man, that has been crazy in the last 24 hours. 102 pips in 24 hours, and you can see in the last 60 minutes, it's obviously down. Pound 119 again. Those both are right inside of their ATR spot, kind of the sweet spot right there. So. Great days, right? Dollar yen 18, that's pretty flat. Dollar Swiss pretty flat. Dollar CAD down 152, that's a monster day. Monster day, actually the most pips in 24 hours on that one. Literally just straight down, and actually in the last hour it's actually retracing a bit. So yeah, just monster day. Aussie dollar up 105. That's a big day too. Euro pound -4. Okay, so again, more or less flat there. And then pound yen up 150 or 149. So yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. I like this one too. NASDAQ is restricting initial public offering of Chinese companies. It's like, all right. Whoops. I think this is interesting too. So Trump is now taking the pool cleaner as well. We'll see what happens from that whole thing. Hopefully he's not taking the pool cleaner version. Yeah, whatever. And besides that, I mean, jumping down, you see recovery fund, should do grants, no loans to member states. Again, trying to grease the wheel, trying to bribe people as much as possible. UK, again, self-unemployment scheme, yada, yada, yada. Currencies rally, a stock store on vaccine. Now, the vaccine was interesting. It was only 8 people, and this was the absolute first group that said they would volunteer for it. So a rather small group, but statistically significant information there. And again, that's great news. It's not, that, bumps us out of kind of the first kind of phase of it, and now they will expand the trials. But I think that's great news that we're this early in, and we already have such positive results that were significant. So, unfortunately, with the small, limited kind of people that were in the trial, it's not considered a statistically significant kind of trial/result, but great news. So they will progress it, they will expand it. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people volunteering. And actually, the best thing about it is, it was the 2 lowest doses that worked. So that's always great. When you have to go back and the dosing in trials is wrong, that's a pain, because you're like, it worked inside of test tubes and everything else, and in vitro it worked, and you just got to get the dosage right. Well, the fact is that the 2 lowest doses are the ones that worked. That's awesome news. So very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. Hey, Corey. Morning. Wow. It's night for most people. Corey, where are you dialing in from? I don't know. Maybe your night is our morning. Could be. But anyway, guys. So very interesting day. Lots of movement. Monetary policy notes is the only thing we have. Going into tomorrow, we have this claimant count coverage. It could move the pound a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to retrace what we had today. Obviously, G7 meetings, building permits, and then this is going to be the biggie, Powell testifying. We'll see what he has to say. He's talking a couple times. This week is like a week of speeches. There's actually not a lot of news releases. A lot of speeches, though. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know if tomorrow or Thursday will be the bigger of the 2 movers based off of what he says. I'm assuming tomorrow will probably be the bigger one, just because, again, with not a lot of news today, but a lot of movement, people are looking at Powell to see what he's going to say. Like, what type of official stance is he going to take? What does the bottomless pockets kind of look like, right? Jumping down into scanner land, and again, that's going into tomorrow. Jumping into scanner land, you can tell we had big movement today because you'll see so many X's on here, so many breaks, right? There was just 2 a second ago, but 1 here, 2 here, 2 here, 3 in the Aussie pool, right? Aussie was retracing off levels of supply, and what happened today? Up, 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 up. Man, anchor breaks to the top side on the Aussie gave that solid strength. Pound for the most part, everything's in a downtrend setup. We were just going straight down, and now we're getting those pullbacks, and you're seeing on the 4 hour and the 1 hour that pullback in there. So again, they're all labeled downtrend setup, but again, big day. Now, question is, with their claim account tomorrow, okay, again, supposed to be a big number, 675,000, big number, was today's rally in the pound in preparation for a really, really crappy number tomorrow. Okay. Again, everything is listed as a downtrend setup, so we'll have to see what some of the pound pairs are bouncing off of. So that should be interesting to look at. Aussie, for the most part, though, again, you're seeing strength across the board. And again, I think a lot of that is also, just what's going on over there. For the most part, Euro was up, minus going against the Euro Aussie. And again, we see Aussie strength, so not surprising. And again, that was an anchor break. That one was a little bit funky last week, as you remember as well. And the CAD basket, pretty mixed, right? I mean, CAD in the second position, up. CAD in the first position, up. CAD in the second position, up. CAD in the second position, up. CAD in the third position, the first position, up. So it's kind of no rhyme or reason. The CAD basket is a little bit all over the place, so I wouldn't focus on that one too much. Although oil is starting to move again, right? We did not see the same type of drop that we saw last month, and it looks like it's going to hold. I don't think that the demand is necessarily back yet. But with everybody opening up again, I think there is a little bit more perceived demand. Now, the only risk to that and that level of demand will be if we start getting a second wave sooner than expected. And then I don't know. I think once everything is open back up again, we may hear about the second wave. And again, you're seeing all these pictures now that the second wave is typically worse than the first wave. I think the big question will be is the mutation of the second wave. Will we be immune? Like, will you be immune if you've already had the first one? Is kind of what the question is. And the friend of mine who works in healthcare, that was what he said. He said his opinion is get it now. This one is kind of wimpy, unless you're one of the populations really at high risk. But who knows what the second wave is going to look like? And I was like, that's an interesting take. But who knows if wave number 2 will be, haven't that the same immunity? So I don't know. That's going to be the big question. Come on, I can't see. Here, back a chair. No, come on. You guys, anybody that has birds knows this. The birds they like to be on like the highest part of you. So the bird will go on my arm and try to climb on the mouse. I just have to put my hand like next to me, and she goes right up my arm, back onto my shoulder like a parrot. It's kind of funny. Hey, what are you doing? I have a hoodie on with strings, so she's all over the hoodie with strings. She loves these things. All right, so scanner, like I said, this much movement on a Monday, the scanner will give us kind of strange readings because it's going to compare everything to what we had last Friday. And obviously it's a new trading week, so again, the dailies, you got to be cautious of that, and you guys can see on the 4 hour and 1 hour. So, but there was definitely some setups across the board today on those smaller time frames. And, we'll get into those when we pop down. All right, so with that, let's go over into the charts. Let me pull this across. I'll put this here. Go across. All right, let's see. We'll go into the chart window. Let me see. What do you guys got? I see a bunch in here. The Pers are jacked on celery. The Aussie. Yeah, the Aussie is moving. It's 6 p.m. Okay, that's fine. What are you drinking? Coffee. All down days from here on out. Mara, you think so? You think it's going to be all down days? I think we will. I think we stand to go a bit higher. I don't think this is the bottom, but I do think we will go. I think we have at least 1 or 2 more big days this week. Just because when the Fed unrolls really how much they're willing to put in, I think that will give us a bit more of an inflation to the top side. I just think it's just, I don't know, making the comments that you do that, hey, listen, we have bottomless pits to make this succeed. And now that the people are out again, I think some of the numbers will be foreshadowed wrong. I think we will have another push back up again. But I think we are due again for another push to the downside. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, like I said, trading is not about being a crystal ball. Trading is about, setting, proper risk management, risk to reward. It's not about trying to guess what's going to happen next because you really can't do that. All right, so awesome. So here's a position we set up last Thursday night. We were talking about this coming back up and testing this level, and you guys see we were able to come back up, and it completed all the way down. It actually went all the way down to the 1 to 5 before turning. It actually went right past. You guys can see it went right past the 1 to 5 we set on Thursday night. But again, nice little zone. The indicator would not have marked this one off. This is one of those kind of hidden levels that the indicator can't really grab because remember, the indicator is measuring both sides of the actual zones and giving us higher quality zones. But that doesn't mean there's not little sneaky zones in here. This one was retested once, and again, we were able to kind of pull one here, and then boom, all the way back down to the 1 to 5. So wanted to make sure I followed up with that. That was from Thursday night. So we will pull that one off. Take that one out now. There we go. Let's delete all that, and then I'll come back again. All right, so where we are now. Okay, today obviously we saw a big run up, about 100 pips up. Obviously we're retracing a little bit, in the last basically hour. But we came back right up into this zone. Now this was a 4-hour zone that we had marked off, and you can see the last time we went into the zone, we pushed away pretty quickly. We came and touched the new zone that was formed and got front run. This one came back up again, and we're sitting the same level. Now this is about the 4th hit of this zone. Again, it did paint a new level. It did, again, the indicator did measure both sides, and it did make sense to put another level there. It's been touched once, and we're kind of going that level again. It's probably not a bad place to short off of. You guys can see here. The zone, there's, 2 smaller zones on the 30-minute. There's where your hourly zones are. They're just slightly above where we are, so it's already started to pull back. Going into Monday, the only concern I'd have about taking this one short, if I did take it, I'd probably want it to push up just a little bit more. I'd feel a little bit safer coming up a little bit higher. This is a 4-hour zone. It's got to move pretty far. I mean, we're talking about, if you're going to take that level of risk, we need to come all the way back down to this level, which is about 93 pips. The ATR is only 81, so it's more than one ATR. And here's what my problem is with this one. With Powell testifying tomorrow morning, 12 hours from, 13 hours from now, if it can't cover that much ground, I don't know. I'm just afraid that we may get a bit more of a rally to the top side on this one. Now, I don't see him, stepping in and talking about dollar strength. I don't know that that's necessarily the issue, but I'm just wondering how much of today's move was in reaction to that expectation that he is going to be all over the dollar weakness and all the benefits the dollar weakness provides. Typically, when you're talking about those levels of inflation, that's more of a dollar weakness type situation. And just backstopping anything. Yep, we're going to print as much money as we need to. We're good to go. We'll prop it up. Again, that's an extremely dollar weakness proposition. So, this is obviously a reaction to Powell speaking. So again, if you're taking the overnight, make sure you're very cautious to the downside. Make sure you get out before Powell speaks, because he could say anything tomorrow that literally could, again, not only affect the dollar, but affect gold, which is also going to affect the Aussie. So this pair is going to probably be a hot button tomorrow morning. Now, with that said, if it is rallying on a 30-minute, if we drop down to the 30-minute and we are hitting some of these zones, well, come out of the cage. There's not a lot drawn in today's rally. Depending on if we form new levels in the overnight, there may be some nice little opportunities. Now, can Powell move the market? Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, he's a very powerful man, has a lot of, backstopping behind him. What he says goes. Be very cautious tomorrow if you're going to put a position on before his testimony at 10. If you're protected, you're probably going to be fine. Just be very, very cautious. If you're within inside a profit, I would say shut it down before he talks, because it literally can retrace on a dime by one statement, one word choice by him, and the market can turn. Okay, so as far as the overnight goes, we have this short here. I don't know that I would hold this one for 90 pips. I don't think we can make up that much ground in the overnight till 10. And unfortunately, we didn't quite get up to one of the smaller levels. So there's a small position in here, but if anything, I'd wait a couple hours, see if we can get a new kind of failure to go higher, sitting kind of right in that zone right there. Let me turn this back to white. Boom, right in there. Okay, and we'll see if we kind of base a little bit and come back up. There could be, and then again, that's a much better trade to take in the overnight. And again, you have a lot less risk with Powell speaking in the morning, because now you're only talking about hitting about 30 pips in the overnight. Definitely, without a doubt, can hit 30 pips on this one in kind of a retracement in preparation for tomorrow's news. Okay, Aussie yen. So Aussie yen also did very, very well. Okay, also moved back up again. As you can see on the daily, we just crossed this level right here. Okay, so here's where the gap was from. What are we talking? Back in March 6th. We're up in that level now. This is the third attempt. Again, 1, 2, and 3 punching through the top. It is basing now. And again, typically the way we look at this is we take the body and the top. So this is kind of where it's very similar, right? The other one was a 4-hour zone. This one is sitting inside of a daily zone. So not too much difference, right? Oh, come on. Stop auto snapping. There we go. And you can see here's the 4-hour right off the top of that zone. So 4-hour, 1 hour, it's all the same. The 1 to 3 is actually not in a bad position. It's a little bit deeper than we would like, but kind of the same scenario. It would need to drop about 141 pips before tomorrow, before Powell speaks. ATR on this one is 92, so you'd have to do 1.5 times this day's movement before somebody like Powell speaks, before he testifies about what's happening in the economy. So, although I like the technical, I do like it technically. I think it's a great technical setup. Like I said, question is, do we want to try these zones against Powell and what Powell has to say? And that's the biggest question. Actually, let me see. Let me drop this back. I'm going to look at that zone real quick. Probably put the zone a bit higher. Actually, I'd probably shrink this a little bit into here. Let's see, how much is that? Still about 30 pips though. It's still up there. There's a short in here. It's just whether or not, you just got to figure out when your exit's going to be. I'm probably not going to take this one, but there is a short if you really want to get into something overnight. I'm not going to be awake long enough tonight to be able to manage this one. But yeah, there's a position in here to the downside. Let's see, where is let's see. He's speaking right here. I don't know if you guys can see this. Right there is where Pal's speaking. That dotted line. It's a lot of ground, right? A lot of ground to move in kind of a short period of time. Oh, hold on, wait. That's not right. Oh, yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. Okay. So we need to cover this ground by that time. May not be necessarily the best. All right. Euro yen. So you guys can see euro yen actually just peaked off some. So on the daily, you can see again, euro yen had a pretty nice day today, popped all the way up and is now hitting and bouncing off this daily zone. Okay, so typically, again, high back on the curve, hitting a daily zone, we're looking to get into shorts. As you can see, there was a little bit of a gap over here. You can see that there was this position right here, and again, we just literally bounced off that gap. Now, we did make a couple attempts up. We pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, and got kind of pushed down again. And you're seeing that the bodies are getting smaller, especially on the 4 hour. Now, people say, well, yeah, it's after hours. Sure. Right. That is correct. But most of this movement happened from 5 basically to 9, and then this one kicked out of here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it stabilized. So there was still some U.S. time in here that, again, we didn't have that movement. Going to the overnight, I expect that we will probably have very small bars now. Big question is, and again, that's drawn on here so we can drop to the lower time frame, are we able to see that kind of big fall? I do actually think we're going to get this one. As you can see, the indicator is actually drawn a zone a bit higher. I would probably move it right to about where it is. We could shrink it a little bit. Let me see. It's only about 16 pips, so it's not a bad level. We're kind of sitting there right now. That's kind of what that one looks like, right? From there to there. The 1 to 3 is in an absolute perfect place. It's right before kind of where the first hiccup to be. The 1 to 5, again, fine. I mean, there's a little bit of a kind of a pullback there, but I think really in essence this one could come all the way back down in a retrace move back down to 115.96 or the 116 mark. Again, it's going to be, there's going to be some kind of magnets, pulling price into this 116 if we pull back. But after today's burst, I think this one could definitely come back down again. And again, it is yen based. Again, there's a little bit of a euro, kind of exposure to this one. But this is just way too big of a burst, too fast. I mean, it's these two candles here are the biggest ones on the entire sheet, minus this one red one here. So again, I have to say short this one. And again, that one is approximately sitting, you guys can see where it's at on yours, but it's approximately sitting at 117.24 to the downside. Short about 124 pips back down to 116. Daily ATR on this one is about 100 pips. So it is well within range of, a 1-day move, especially with somebody like Powell speaking. Okay. Or snap the indicator is drawing the zones. Flat before news. Yeah, the indicator draws the zones now, Corey. It doesn't do all of them. Like, obviously, this would be a zone sitting in here, right? Here's a zone sitting right here as well. Again, a nice rally basing and then a pop out of that zone. So there's going to be a hiccup most likely in this zone. It will pull wick over wicks, but it doesn't grab all the basings in the middle because it's measuring the two sides. And if the sides don't necessarily match to a certain kind of algorithm, it won't draw them. So it's drawing these because it's measuring both sides of it within a certain number of candles. Kind of a little bit of secret sauce inside of the, making supply and demand a little bit better. But we will probably have a kind of a hiccup right in the zone. So yeah, it works amazingly well in the 30-minute. The programmer did, again, the parameters, and he did a really, really excellent job with it. I couldn't be more pleased with the way that he got it programmed in for me. But yeah, so that's what we're looking for euro yen. Pound yen. So pound yen on the hourly is also in a zone. Now you can see that we hit this zone 11 o'clock today. We missed the reversal by 1 hour. And you guys can see that this one turned out to be, perfectly fine. It ended up going past the 1 to 3. And again, Corey, this is a perfect example, right? If you're able to grab these things on the 30-minute or the hourly, you guys can see that you can't really necessarily see it here, but there is a zone sitting right here, right? Sitting right there. Actually, you know what? I'll just do it this way. Right there. You can see the overlay. There and there were your two entries into this one. There we go. Whoops, I deleted it. Boom. There was your 1 to 3. And we just approach it again, and it's kind of in a short position again. But yeah, catching these things on these 30-minute levels right at like the 10, between 9:30 and 10:30 time have been like absolutely just golden. I'm never normally a larger time frame type guy. I typically prefer the lower time frames, but the 30 minutes have just been like, I mean, there's just been hitting them. It's been great. So yeah, another great setup today. Now the 1 to 5 on this one was actually not a bad target as well if you wanted to keep that. The 1 to 3 would have been something you definitely wanted to make sure that you know collected profit, because look at the way these wicks are formed, right? One here, one higher, that kind of sawtooth effect that we talk about, and you can see it literally ran down to here at the bottom of that second sawtooth, and that's where it kind of took back off again. So again, just because there's no red doesn't mean it's a hold all the way to the downside, guys. You got to make sure you're looking at the wick formation as well as the colors of the candles, right? Same thing. If we were taking this all the way down, this would be also an area where you want to be cautious, right? Price was able to launch out of it. Here, it was supported by buyers, pushing up, and then boom, popped. So 1 to 3, it was the best place for this one. But we'll see. I think this one is probably good in the overnight for one more. With the claimant count tomorrow, I actually do see this one going more to the downside. I am a bit bearish right now on the pound, just because, again, had such a big move today, but with that claimant count being 650,000, that's not a number that they are used to. And what I mean by that is this, look back at their claimant count. It's supposed to be 675,000, 12, 17. I mean, you can go back. Look at this. You can go back, and we're not talking, anything really super crazy, right? 40 is the highest number we've ever seen back in 2017. Look at this. Here's some 38. 2015. You're seeing some 26s, some 27s. So I mean, this is by far the largest number they will ever see. So I just feel that 138. There you go. 2009, 138 is the closest we got to this one. And this one's supposed to be coming in at 675,000. So even if they miss it by a little bit, I think it'll definitely be something to be like, yeah, this country's in more trouble than they thought. And, after today, after having this much movement, I feel like we're due for a bit of a retrace. So that's what I'm kind of looking. We just joke around. We call it the secret sauce. But all it's doing is it's kind of measuring how big of a move. And one of the things about zones is you can draw zones anywhere, but the entry into a zone and the exit of a zone also matter a whole lot. And that's where a lot of people fail at drawing supply and demand. They'll see it and say, oh, I know what this is. This is support and resistance. And no, it is not support and resistance. Will there be support and resistance at every zone? Yes. Will every supply and demand zone be at support and resistance? No. So they are definitely different. And a lot of people get that confused. But entry and exit of zones matter very, very much. And again, the indicator's done an excellent job of being able to kind of factor that kind of process in. Now, is it perfect? Does it catch everything? No, it definitely doesn't. Definitely doesn't catch everything. But it catches a good variety of things. Okay. All right, so short on this one as well. Looking at the pound dollar. So pound dollar, very, very similar setup. This one is almost identical on the hourly. You can see that it did come up earlier. It did kind of the same, the same bit. Had kind of the same kind of sawtooth, but not quite as pronounced as the pound yen. It is also pulling up. It hasn't quite gotten there yet. This one's it definitely has some more sellers sitting right here. So a little bit different of a pattern, but for the most part, more or less the same thing, right? Here's the 30-minute. You guys can see we're also pushing back up. 4 hour, kind of the same idea. We've now pushed up. Actually, let me take these out. Take those out so we don't see them in larger time frames. You can see on the 4 hour, what we've done, we've pulled up and we're sitting inside of an area here where the last time that price was here, what did it do? Collapsed right to the downside. So not only on the small time frames and the larger time frames, you're also seeing the same pattern. Is there anything below that can stop it? Yeah, there's a little bit of a zone here. But I mean, if you're going to, measure this one off, you're talking about a risk zone there, and there's your 1 to 3. I mean, this is a runner of about 114 pips to the downside. So same idea. Big movement today, which would, make us first think, hey, listen, there's going to be a retracement. Biggest number of all time. Again, same time, you have to think that we may have a reversal tomorrow as well. Okay. And that zone, just so you guys have the parameters, is approximately coming. And again, you can wait till it comes out the other end. 122.06, and placing this one down here again. Profit target at 121.16. Make sure you get out before that green area. That's going to be an area where I would definitely expect there to be some buyers stepping in. It's halted price once, and it'll probably do it again. All right, sorry, I'm just putting the bird back on the cage there. All right, so that would be the pound dollar. Now, euro pound is next. Now, euro pound, this one's kind of funky. All right, so we had a push down. We had a strong bounce at about 11 o'clock today. It was a bounce of about 55 pips. Now, it had been coming down, 55 pips back up, and then we've All right, come back out again. And then we pulled back 23. So in 24 hours, it's only moved about 4 pips to the downside. Hey, shh. It's only moved about 4 pips, but there's been plenty of movement that this has been able to kind of go through back and forth. Go back in the cage. Hold on, I'm gonna put the birds to quote asleep. My wife has her family has birds, and they always joke when it's time to put when they have a cockatiel, which my daughter loves. Every bird is named. They have a cockatiel named Cocker. You know, little kids pick the name, but my daughter absolutely loves it. Every bird is Cocker. Well, when it's time for Cocker to go to sleep, they just put the sheet over the cage, and the bird doesn't make another peep for the whole rest of the night. My two were like, "What are you putting this over for?" But sometimes it works. So let's see. Hold on. All right, we'll see. They're not big fans of this one, so. All right, so euro pound. Interesting position. So dropping this one up in a 4 hour, you can see the last time looking to the left, and I'll put this line here so you guys can see it. Looking to the left, you guys are going to be obnoxious today. You can see last time price was up in this range, it got forced back, right? Bam, bam. And we kind of coming up in that same level. Now, neither of these zones is the best drawing, right? Very, very long wicks on the top side. The bodies are rather small. The basing level here is weird. It did push back up a second time. So ideally, these are not the type of zones that we like to draw, okay? We like nice, clean, one directional, not a lot of wick. Again, this is also not a bad zone here. Wick's a little bit long, but again, very strong entry in, easy to see basing, and then boom, pop to the downside, okay? Unfortunately, this is not kind of the same thing. So on a 4 hour, it's not there. On the daily, you can see we're kind of sitting up, and again, this is the sawtooth, but they're very high wick sawtooths. So not really my favorite. Yeah, the birds need Benadryl. I'm going to tell the wife to come get them right now. They're driving me nuts. I'm telling you, no more celery for the birds. Can you come get birds? The baby will be so excited. She'll be like, birds, birds, birds. Yeah, so it's definitely an area of sellers. I don't know how strong it's going to be. Like I said, today has been I mean, really, looking at this on a daily, we're sitting in an uptrend with a little bit of a pullback right now. I don't think tomorrow is going to be a great day for the pound. I just think that number's too big. This could be a bit of a pullback and then another pop higher. So, you know, kind of in a weird position. None of these are super strong. None of the levels above it are even that great either. And you can see, I mean, looking above, there's just nothing there until all the way up here. I mean, we're talking about 280 pips away. On the daily, the ATR is only about 72. So there's just not enough. It's kind of, we're in this bounce, and we can turn on kind of these garbage levels, but for the most part, there's just not really anything wonderful in this one. Even on the 30-minute, you can see that we have, you know, we have an hourly. It looks like it's painting an hourly level. Oh, there you go. You erased it. You know, it was painting an hourly level up top, but let's see. Let's go back. Yeah, it's kind of, they're drawing a little bit of a level right here. Okay, they're drawing a level here to about there. Now, here's where let's see. I'll show you guys where this one actually started. Here's where the original basing came in, and then it was retested with this green candle. It came up and bounced. It came up and bounced. It came up all the way to the top of that zone, and then kind of came back in it again. So the zone has been hit a bunch of times, and that's exactly where price is at right now. So I'm thinking in the overnight, this continues to push back to the downside. I'm thinking at 2 a.m., if we're sitting in this this hourly zone, I'm thinking we have a pop back up through. And the question is, how far through this zone that can we move? It's about 40 pips total from this area. If you were to take a long back off that area, your 1 to 3 is in a great position. So that's kind of something that's on my radar. I do have an alert set sitting right in here, right kind of above that level, right here. So it may be an early morning for me, this 89.12 area. If price is sitting down there, and again, grinds down there, that'd be a long for me, okay, to the top side. Now, euro dollar. Euro dollar, okay, we got some special stuff on this one. So euro dollar, you guys will see some kind of lines over here, right? Anybody know what these things are? The yellow you can't see that well. I'll probably change that one. But these are all changeable, actually. So, I don't know if you guys can see it over here, but do you guys see this little thing up here? You guys see this over here? I'm not sure if you guys can read that. Can you read that? I don't know. Yeah, it does look like Skittles. Well, no, there's no brown Skittles. Come on. No brown Skittles. There is no green, but I can change that. But I don't know if you guys can see what this says, but this is, I'm testing a, this is what Matt put together for me to get knockouts that are a little bit easier in here. I was going to have you guys do more work on there and have it basically just, you know, print lines. Matt actually has it in there so you can set the ranges and see what the tick differential is. He was trying to work on ways that when they got broken, it would automatically print another one. I kind of told him to back off that a little bit. I know Nadex has not been necessarily great with that when one gets broken, that sometimes there's a delay. So I didn't want it to print knockout brackets without being able to confirm that there's actually a knockout that is, you know, exists there. You know, you guys see what I'm saying? If they were golden about, I mean, if they were like perfect about it to where the second it broke, the next one printed in the exact same spot, then it'd be easy to do, right? But because there's been delays and it hasn't been exact, I didn't want him to put that in. So anyway, this is what it is. I can actually change. Let's see. We can change this input. The yellow obviously is not good with the gray charts. We could change that one to blue. Indian red is probably not the best color either. Let's go to maybe not midnight blue. Maybe we'll have to do this one to like crimson's not going to work. Let's go to dark green. Orchid will go to dark purple. Dodger blue will go to orange red. There we go. A little bit better. A little bit better. All right, so basically that's what telling us is that those are the knockout brackets. So we can see it. And it does work for all the individual pairs, obviously. Obviously, we only have 4 currency pairs, all the indices, and then we do have gold and things. So this is something you guys could set on Sunday nights. The way that it's programmed, and I just got it actually on the charts a little while ago, when it hits one of these knockouts, it's supposed to erase it. It's supposed to take it off so you can't see it anymore. So that way you kind of understand what's current, what's not current, what's been broken, what hasn't been broken. I may change it around a little bit. I think I want to have it extend across, although I do like how it gives us the price. That way we can kind of match the prices up with what, you know, Nadex looks like. But yeah, so that's a new addition. But anyway, overall on this one, you guys can see that this one also had a very, very big the top side. We're sitting inside of a 4-hour zone right now. Now, obviously, we've pushed through things. You can see the price went through. Some of these knockouts were reprinted today. And actually, the last I looked, yeah, knockouts right now are 6, 5, 1, and 2. So number 3 and number 4 got busted out on this kind of rise to the top side. Closest one would be, what, this one right here? This would be knockout 2, right? Knockout 1 is sitting at, actually, I'm sorry. This is knockout 1. This is knockout 2 right now. So we're pretty close to it. You'll be able to kind of track those things back. But visually, I don't even know if we're going to get up that high. I do think we will continue to push back to the downside. This guy over here at 108.67, which would currently be knockout 6, I do feel like is probably going to be in jeopardy of getting busted in the overnight. Okay. Now, dropping this one down to here on an hourly, you can see there's all kinds of different sell zones. There's kind of, and actually one of these is mine. A box sitting right in here. See, there's a box right here. Well, I can't see the box though. It shouldn't be overlaying those 3. It's here. Yeah, there's a box up there. I have to figure out why that graphically is like that. Anyway, on the hourly, we are sitting there in a position where we would potentially be looking for a short. Now, the zone, not my favorite zone. I don't like how this wick goes much, much higher than the actual basing zone. It seems like it's holding, and again, it's putting in now lower highs as well as lower lows right now. So there may be a short opportunity. It looks very, very similar to some of the other ones we've talked about. For this one, we do have a red, green, red that is formed, although it's kind of very, very minor. The last green actually went a bit high, so it's not in a confirmed status yet. We kind of had one in this range. Let's pull this back a bit. B, come on. B is not working. Ooh, I think I found a break. Nope. All right, so I'll have to tell them that, hey, listen, take that off. Okay, so we broke the B. That's good to know. I want that off. All right, anyway, we're in a position where we'd be looking to go short. This is a little bit too much. Again, the 1 to 3 would be all the way back down to here. I think that's way too much risk in this position. Dropping it down to a 30-minute, looking at that zone, we can see that it did push back up, but I'd probably run this one most likely like there to about here, right? That zone's probably better. A little bit better formed. The top one is a little bit better, but again, the move off of this one, you can't dispute it. Very, very large candle. I mean, this is one body that was about 70 pips in one 30-minute window. So again, big move off of that one. So I'd probably shrink this one down. And again, if you wanted to wait for a confirmation, wait for a red close below, wait for a green pullback and either enter on that pullback or wait for the close below the bottom of the green. Take this one to the downside and you're looking at about a 42 pip runner in the overnight. We do have, about 4 hours, 5 hours before we really get into the kind of the meat and potatoes of the London Open. That should give us enough time to get down there. Like I said, it's only, you're talking about 40 pips. The 30-minute right now currently has a 7 pip ATR. So, yeah, it can move down there. This one has the potential to do that. As we get closer, you'll have that pre-market trading in the European session. So, yeah, that may not be a bad little position in the overnight. Take that one down. And again, that'll be super, super close to knocking out this 108.67 touch bracket, which is touch bracket number 6. When that knocks that one out, a new one will be printed to the downside, and that may be something more beneficial to take. But right now, where price is basing, it's not matching any knockouts on the euro. Okay? CAD. So look at this CAD day. So look at this thing. So the CAD currently right now is down 132 pips. It was about 152 before. We're seeing a bit of a pullback, and you guys can see it's coming off a 4-hour zone. I'll take this overlay off, go back up, and bam, you can see we're coming off a 4-hour zone. So it was kind of a planned prediction of where this one was going to turn at. Question is, do we go long from here? Now, after the move that it had today, I have to say, I mean, the last time we were at this area, it had a pretty nice bounce off of it. Today's day, no pullbacks, no nothing. Not a horrible little, zone right here, right? I mean, it's about 27 pips. If you kind of dial this one down a little bit, that's a very, very kind of small, kind of sharp little zone there. Let's see, 30-minute. Yeah, it's gonna be tight. So I don't know. It depends. It is a 4-hour zone. You can see where this one just touched. The 4-hour zone, unfortunately, is going to require a movement of about here. Okay, that would require a pop of about 88 pips. I don't know. Again, ATR on this one is good. I don't know if we're going to get a reversal of 88 pips before the morning. I feel like once we get to kind of the London Open, that this one will probably go a little bit stagnant. And I don't know in the next 3-4 hours with neither of these two pairs trading if we can move that much in that short of a period of time. At this point, I'm kind of hoping that we have if that doesn't work through, I'm kind of hoping that we come back down and get a little bit closer to one of these two levels. Now, I'm kind of rooting for the reversal. I think if we can get price down into either of these two ranges before tomorrow morning, I think we should be okay. And the reason I say that is because although, obviously anything that makes the dollar weak is a big deal because oil is priced in dollars. Again, we buy a lot of stuff from Canada. I feel like they are also at risk. They will kind of follow closely behind with whatever we do. So I don't know that it will be, I don't think it's going to be a huge, gigantic, like 500, pip move to the downside with the CAD if our news is bad. So if we can get to either of those two levels, I'll be looking to take a long in either of those two. Both these zones are rather small. This one is only about 19 pips. This other zone here is about 12 pips. So either of those two is good. If you like it, again, if we can get a green, red, green, then again, you may be willing to jump into something based off of that 4-hour. Okay. And again, that 4-hour level is sitting right here. Okay. So that's what we're bouncing off of currently right now. I'm just not spending, me personally, I'm not spending as much time on the 4 hours right now. I'm using them as kind of targets when to get out, but I'm not necessarily using those for entries with the kind of whipsawing back and forth that we've had. And it is about a 30 pip zone, which is a bit much for me with the current market conditions. Again, I love the 134, but it would require basically a 90 pip move tomorrow after such a huge day today. Okay, and you don't really see that much of a move. 2 days in a row typically. Now, wouldn't I be willing to take this short even more? That's an interesting question. Let's see. So if price is able to come down and actually get to this 138.70, that will be the third touch of that zone. So that could be a break. It's not a horrible long. It's not horrible. I really like this as a long better. I like this zone right here better for a long opportunity. I'm gonna delete all these. Hold on. I like this zone as a long opportunity better. The reason why is because price gapped in there and immediately launched out. So we know that there's some buyers sitting down in that zone. And we haven't touched there for a while. So we are sitting about 184. If we have a big day, if we have a big day tomorrow, if we're able to break through both these zones, we could hit that. But I think this is going to be more of a Wednesday number if we turn red tomorrow and if we can break through both these zones. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing too. We're going to have a little bit of an issue here. And we're going to have a little bit of an issue right here for any upward side movement. So, yeah, I think if this can turn any red, I think we can get down and touch this one. And again, not really opposed to that, especially with this candle right here. I mean, that'd be about a 50 pip mover. So there's a couple small setups, but again, nothing I would set at 10 o'clock at night before news tomorrow morning. This would be a pre-market move. Again, kind of watch these levels. Hourly or 30 minutes, probably fine. If we are down here by tomorrow morning, then I am very, very much into a long on this position. Okay. All right. So dollar yen. So dollar yen is basically just chopped. Okay. Where everything else is up or down in the euros and the Canadian pairs, even the Aussie pairs, you're seeing that this one is basically chopping. So here's where current price is right now. Where we were last night at the same time was here. Okay. So we have moved a total of about 20 pips. It went down just slightly, went up slightly, and is in the same exact position. So, 4 hour, I think, is what makes the most sense on this one. It's got a little bit room to run, but I think either of these two zones, and you can see this bottom one is both a daily and a 4 hour. I think those two are kind of where we should be focusing right now, would be either of these two zones. Okay, top side, you're looking at approximately setting shorts in here at 107.65. If we can collapse, again, longs down here at 106.10 are not too bad. Now, let me check real quick. Yeah, there actually is some positions down south here. It's right at 106. Let's see, what do we got on this one? 107. All right, so there's a touch bracket. Ceiling, KO4, is right here. Okay. There's a floor sitting at a 106.13, which again, it's ahead of the zone. Probably will get busted and then reprinted immediately. And then the next one is at 105.63. So down here. Okay. So there where your touch bracket positions are in this one. How much room we got at this top side? That's about 20 pips. So that's an interesting position right here. Take this for a short. Okay. I'd be willing to take something off that tomorrow. If we just kind of go sideways in the overnight, again, it only needs to move 20 pips. But if we can rally into that zone by the time Powell speaks tomorrow morning, there could be a really nice position there. Because again, anything Powell says is going to be based off of weakening the dollar, but making the stock market really good, which should be the yen, right? Which would be the yen. So depending on, again, it depends on the words that he uses. This one could have a potential pop and then collapse tomorrow. So that's how I'd set that one up. I like the top side better than the bottom side. Although the touch bracket's not going to work. Touch bracket is definitely not going to work. This would be an early binary position tomorrow morning. Okay. Dollar Swiss. Yeah, the KOs are just not matched up great this week. So dollar Swiss. This sucker is all over the place. Dollar Swiss right now, as you guys can see. Now, and I say it's all over the place, but here's where we are right now, right? You guys can see it right here. And here's where we were last night, right here. So in essence, right, this is where the candle opened right here. We have moved a total of 2 pips in 24 hours, but that included a 40 pip drop into an hourly zone, and then it rallied 80 pips up and then dropped back down 40 pips. So this is what I'm talking about. The larger time frames are not really showing us much movement. They're showing us wicks and indecision, but look at this thing. 7 o'clock down. Here's the 11 o'clock this morning, which was the Monday reversal today. Everything was at 11. It hit an hourly zone and boom, rocketed off this thing. Came all the way up 2 hours later, and then we're in the same exact spot. So nothing in 24 hours has really changed except a lot up and a lot of down, right? This is just indecision. It's not even really so much stop hunts on this one. This one is more, again, taking advantage of a reversal and news and things like that comes out. Because remember, 10, 11 o'clock is when all the talking heads come in. And so there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that can happen at that time. Okay, so end of day, no difference. Small time frame, it's just, again, remember, if the markets don't move at all, market makers don't make any money. So their job is to provide liquidity and movement inside of the market. This is an example of making that movement. Bringing it down, having it reverse back up again, and then basically resetting on the day. So enough trades back and forth, but no real actual change. Okay, now, bottom zone and top zone are probably still good in this one. Again, this one barely touched the bottom. So if we get price movement over here or we get price movement up top here, either one of those is probably good for a short or a long. Just keep those two things marked off. And again, we'll see how they turn out tomorrow morning. NQ. All right, this guy is moving. So in the last couple, as you can see, we kind of got up to this zone. The very last time we were up in this area was the 12th, right? 512. Price launched itself to the downside. So we managed to get all the way back up to there again, and now we've had a little bit of a difficult time. Now, is it time to get into some shorts on this one? Okay, that's an interesting question. Now, again, we are very, very high on the curve. We've been able to kind of get up, and now we're stabilizing at that level. Okay, now on a daily level, you can see that we are approaching another region of a gap. Right on the daily, it's showing us there is a little bit of a zone. Right, I don't need the overlays. This one is stuck in overlay mode for some reason. You know what? I'm going to take this one off. This one's having some problems. Oh, I don't even have it up there. Oh, that's funky. That's weird. So this template is a little funky. You know what? Let's just change. I'm going to change the template real quick. Hold on, guys. We'll go to ADX. There we go. I was like, man, that shouldn't be doing that. All right. So on a daily, you can see we're coming up to this little gap area, right? This was when all heck was breaking loose. So let's look at the gap now. Let's pull it back and go across, and you can see, all right, so here is actually where the gap is from here to here. Okay, so we have to expect there's going to be some sellers in that area. That's why there was obviously a gap. There's a big imbalance. We're pretty close to that level. Now, question is, are we getting front run off that level? Okay, that's a little bit more difficult to decide. Okay, looking at what it's doing. Okay, price is obviously poking up. It's got support down here in the bottom. We've tagged the bottom side of this 3 times. We've also kind of got into a failure to go higher situation. Things that I am looking for that could kind of unseat this one. Holy crap, the birds are so loud in the other room. There's this zone right here. And again, those wicks are descending. I like that. Nice green pop off of that one. Got to be careful on that one. This one is not great, but there's this right here, right? A level of basing. Price came down, it tagged it, and it continued up again. Then we run into this level right here where you have wicks again. So there's a lot to the downside kind of supporting this position, but these are hourly levels. Depending on what Powell says, he can blow through these. But if anything else, I think that these may be great little areas. If price slowly comes back down again, and we are sitting at a level over here, right, for when Powell speaks, Powell has already said he's going to backstop the market as best as they possibly can. But unlimited pockets. That's not negative for the economy. That is positive for the stock market. Question is, will we get that type of a pop? Okay. Now, this thing has to move from what? Right, you guys can't really see those little things. So let's do this one. Current price is sitting around right now about 93.20, so it's probably about 93.14, right? It's got to move down a decent amount. Right? I was trying to figure out exactly how much, and we're talking about 40 points to the downside. It can do 40 points in overnight, right? So that could be a possible level. And again, remember, my prices are going to be off because of this ECN data. But approximately there and there are probably two good zones. If we can get into there before Powell speaks, there can be nice popping potential out of those two zones. Okay, now again, keep your risk small because he could say something the market is really not happy about. But thus far, everything's been extremely positive, hence why we had the big pop today. If we were a little bit higher, I'd say, hey, listen, we could probably look for a short. And again, maybe price does not come down on the overrun. Maybe it continues to press higher. But if we are sitting inside of this zone, again, before Powell speaks, there could be a very interesting position set up. Now, what I would do is look to see what the pre-market move look like. The pre-news move, again, when the market opens tomorrow morning, there will be movement. I mean, starting at 8:30 tomorrow morning, there should start to be some movement. See if there is a 30-minute level painted in the AM for Powell, because there may be a push higher, a kind of failure to go higher where we push up, come back down, and then it kind of comes over again. That would be the entry. That will give you your appropriate risk level to take this short to the downside. Let's see. Touch brackets in this guy. I don't know if these match up either. It looks like we have one at 94. Like we have a top one at 94.34. So kind of sitting in here. And again, the actual price is probably a bit lower. Right now, my price is at, what is it, 93.13, and the indicative is at 93.05. So it's about, 5 off. Okay. There's one. Next one is at 94.04. 94. Pretty close. 94.04. Right there. Next top is at 93.75 or 93.74. You guys can see this. It's like all over this zone. 93.44. 93.34. That guy's the closest to breaking. All right. Those are all the top sides. So there's a lot of different options to be able to take this one tomorrow morning. If we get any type of a pop, we'll see which one is able to break. Downsides on these things are a bit farther away. It looks like it is set more for a short if you were to use touch brackets. The highest one is at 92.84. 92.84. Which should be down here. Be right there. So, yeah, kind of interesting. We'll see. Like I said, I think I'm going to follow this one tomorrow morning. I think is the best bet. Ideally, white box, purple box are the ways to go on this one. All right. All right. All right. So next one. Let's go look at the S&P. So S&P, you guys can see, also bounced off a level. Now, this one also had some overlays on it. Let's see. Can we erase the overlays? Man, it does not want to erase the overlays on this one. Anyway, you can see that we're sitting up inside of this 4-hour zone. Kind of a similar position. It was a peak that we had before. It's right up top. It's there. It's painting red. We kind of have a confirmation coming through. Big boom today. So I would say, as of right now, again, if Powell wasn't speaking, I'd be all over taking this for a short tomorrow morning. Again, a lot of this is because Powell said, again, same comments, unlimited risk. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it. We're not going to let the economy crash. I would have to say, on a technical basis, barring all news, I'm short overnight. I think if you can get short in this one and get a nice little entry, I think you are good. Actually, let me see if I can reset it. And reset just a little bit. Not the best. I don't want this one. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go down. See. Bit too much movement off this one so far. Let's see. How did we hit that? Yeah, that's all aftermarket. So this is what I would do on this one, guys. If you're looking to get in this in the overnight, there's a zone sitting right here. Okay. There's enough room to the downside. Look for a Harry Potter in this one and be able to drop it down here. Look for a continuation. Now, ideally, we want to make sure that we are out of this position before Powell speaks because, again, like I said, you don't want to be messing with Powell. Something along those lines right here. Right there. Something along those lines. Okay. Again, break below, pull back up, use that as your risk level, take that continuation down. Your 1 to 3 is in a great spot. It's before the turnaround. That would be the setup for the overnight. Okay. Yeah. All right. S&P. So Dow. Let's reset this one again. This one is not having fun over here. There we go. All right. So Dow missed. Dow of the three guys, as I know, Nasdaq's been the biggest mover. It's been the most reactive. S&P is having great success today. Dow, it looks good. It didn't have the same chopping as the top. This one, I feel like, is always the one that's going to be at risk first. Again, demand, manufacturing, Dow Industrial Average. It always seems like this one is going to be delay. This one, we are already seeing a failure to go higher situation. Unfortunately, it's not bouncing off of a zone, a clean zone. You can see it here. It's obviously not going any higher. 4 hour, again, we're bouncing off. It's kind of a big zone, though. But I do think this one actually will probably have the most negative of the days tomorrow. If we turn negative, and again, people aren't super impressed with Powell's speeches. This one, unfortunately, has a small zone here, but not as clean of an entry to the downside. So I don't think we're going to get a continuation pattern. It does, again, it looks like we're going to continue to push down. If I'd have to say, again, if I had to make a call for the overnight, I would say, hey, listen, this is probably what we're going to see tomorrow morning from here to here. Let's take this off. Go to white. This was what I'd be forecasting in the overnight. Most likely, we're probably going to be down in one of these two little levels here before Powell speaks. And again, we may get the same little bounce if we're in one of those levels. Unfortunately, neither of those two levels is really. I mean, there's a little level right there, but it's all right. I like the NQ levels much better than the YM here. So that's where I'd set that one up. So looking at gold. So look at this with gold. Bam. Just huge day in gold to the downside. We had pushed higher. We are obviously in an area of buyers. Okay. The problem with this one right now is on the 4 hour. Here's where kind of those areas of buyers have set in, right? We're kind of sitting in the middle, right? It's not high or low on the curve. And I really like to take things that are either high or low on the curve. It just increases your odds on this one. Not necessarily in the middle, unless it's a wick over wick and it spent some time there. So kind of looking for that on the top side, right? And again, you guys can see it's marked it off. I mean, I can shrink this. I'll just delete it because it's got it marked. But there's kind of, I mean, for me, this is really, I mean, there's top and here's bottom for me, right? There's a little wick over wick right here. Again, be cognizant of it. Whoops. Be cognizant of this little zone. But is it the best? No, not really. I mean, I think 1762 is really where we need to start shorting, and then 1715. Again, that's the last time we've seen a big burst up or a big burst to the downside. Obviously, anything Powell says, inflation, printing money, strong dollar, weak dollar, all that will affect gold tomorrow. So a lot of this is how will this one ride in the overnight to get to either of those two levels. And again, these risk levels are decent, right? Both of these are decent levels. You have more than enough room to, top and bottom for this one to run. There's one side and there's the other side. So not necessarily, either of these is not bad, right? And again, a lot of this is going to depend on what Powell says, but either of these two, I think you are probably pretty good on, right? Either of those two. Okay. Now, if he says nothing and it goes sideways, then we just laugh at Powell. But that's where we're looking, top or bottom on this one. You guys can figure out where the risk is. But I think that makes the most sense. Be patient, hold those two either way. Okay. Silver. Now, silver. This one is also chopped up with all kinds of levels. Man, that template did not save well. There we go. All right. So silver. Silver had a zone sitting right here. Now, this is not necessarily a zone that I would have used for a reversal. And the reason why is because obviously there was a bit of a gap up. If you look to the left, okay, look over into here, we had that kind of that sawtooth pattern, right? High, a lower high in the wicks pushing to the top side. So these are always little areas that I am looking for, these little sneaky zones. I think that's much better of an area. And again, futures data, this is a little bit off of what you're going to have, but 1775, I think is where, potential shorts of this one are coming in. Kind of a little bit different than what we saw with gold, but this one has been lagging so far behind. And again, if we can push this up a little bit higher, let's see, let's take that one off. Let's move this around. That one is coming in right around that level. And again, profit targets for me would be there. 1 to 5, I think is a little bit risky, but bringing this back down to the 16s, I think is okay. Again, a lot of sellers in this area last time, but I think the sneaky level is a little bit better. If price goes through this one, okay, I do not like this one. Okay, let me put the check up here. I am not a fan of this level at all. Okay, this is not the first time it's been through. It had a nice reaction, but it's been here, it's been here, it's been here. So it's tagged this one multiple times. I think the better turning point for this one is going to be, again, if it breaks this white zone, would be this guy right up here. Okay, and that level comes in at approximately about 1930 or about 1930, 1928. I like this, how it based in one candle. I like the push off of it. I like the fact that it hasn't made it up there before. It's chopped up this wick over wick between here, here, and here, and this one a little bit higher. So that's why I think this small zone will fail, and I think this top zone would be a better short entry. So if we are unable to hold this level, wait till we get back up in here, this 1928 to the 1966. Okay, those to me make the most sense. All right. Yeah, that's silver. All right, W2I. As you can see on the 30-minute over here, it's still messed up. This one in this aggregate data is still way off. So let me pull up the daily FX chart. Now, I'm happy to say that this guy did finally break through the top, right? It's up there. James was doing the $30 oil dance, I heard today. I saw that in there. So, whew, we are up. We're at $32. Now, on a daily basis, though, before everybody gets their hopes up in the air and starts chilling and it just starts going crazy, we have a level sitting right here. Okay, we're just entering that level. Now, this is on a daily, so again, this is a much larger time frame. Dropping this one on a 4-hour, you can see that the level is probably more here, safe, right? And then we have, obviously, a gap up top that we'd like to mark off. Okay, those two levels. Okay, so let's bring these across, and you can kind of see where we're at. All right, so we're looking at 34.83 to 36.27 are kind of two areas that we want to kind of keep track of. It looks like if we can get up there, and again, that we're probably a day or 2 days off from that. I mean, I guess we can move tomorrow. I mean, if we have a big day tomorrow, you know, we could potentially move up that high, I guess. Right? Powell could have the potential to mention oil and pop us there. But these would be two levels that I'd be looking for at least on Wednesday to the top side. Now, bottom side, really, I mean, this entire zone is not bad, but we did get some basing right here. Okay, now that's much lower. That's back down in the 26 range, but you know, we had a nice pull up. We popped out of it. We came back and retested and then launched. There's obviously a small level right here. We're kind of just chipping sideways. So, you know, that may be something kind of sitting, that may be something there as well, right? But that's kind of what I kind of box off in preparation for, you know, for Wednesday. I don't think tomorrow will be as big of a mover. I don't think we're going to have, you know, as much of a jumper, but I think those levels are what we're going to have to look out for. I think this 34.83 to 34, you know, 36. It's a big zone, obviously. That's a big chunk of, you know, chunk of money in that range. But as we get closer, I think we'll be able to dial this level down a little bit more. See on the hourly, it's going to give us a better draw here. Yeah, we can actually take this a bit higher. Probably fine. But now, again, we're getting very specific with the hourly level. I think we're going to push up that high. Yeah, so this brought us 35.29 to 36.27. Let's see, commodity-wise, crude. Yeah, and there's touch brackets at 36, 35, 34. So it looks like 36 would probably be the touch bracket. But the way that I play that is I'd actually, you know, again, large area. Look for a confirmation pattern inside of that zone to be able to take the touch bracket. Now, I have not traded a touch bracket on this one yet. I know a couple of you guys have. I don't think we can look at it here on the 30. Can we see it? Let's see how close we can get to the 36. James, have you done a touch bracket on this one yet? I don't know if you have either. Like I said, the touch brackets are working so well with everything else. I just don't go over into oil as much. See, that takes us... That shortens us a bit. Yeah, that brings us up into the 35.54 to 36. Yeah, so there's a touch bracket at 36. All right. All right. I don't know. We got about $3 a move there. I mean, we'd have to have two nice days in oil to be able to get up that high. I think if anything else, that could be a Thursday inventory or a Wednesday inventory number spike up and then play a retracement off that level. I think that's the best way we're setting this one up. I don't like it. The other nothing in here is screaming right now. Yeah, you took one last week. Okay. Yeah, I just haven't done as much of them. But like I said, the fact that they're like $1, right on the dollar makes it a little bit more difficult. I wish they were a little bit closer. I mean, like I said, there's, we got one, there's what, a 33, a 34, a 35, and a 36. So, yeah. I don't know. I'll have to ask them tomorrow. Like, hey, you guys planning on whether adding more of these or mixing them up a little bit? The downside's breaking. Downsides are 31, so they're breaking here. Yeah, those are some big brackets right now. Yeah, it's going to require $2 to the downside. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. $5. Yeah, I know. They're quite large. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously they're breaking after today because we have touch bracket 5, 1, 2, and 7. So, I mean, we've broken 2 of them, and we got one ready to break, and, I guess I got close. It got within 9 cents of breaking another one. So, Ernest, I actually plan to bring that up tomorrow. Yeah, I have that beforehand. We always chat beforehand. Yeah, I'm going to bring that up tomorrow about getting that one. I think it's ridiculous still that we only have, the limited that we do. I mean, like, there's 8 currency pairs, right? I mean, if you look at the indices, all the 4 of the biggies are up there, right? We have 8 currency pairs, and we don't have Aussie dollar up there. You have dollar Swiss up there, which, like, who cares? Dollar yen moved nothing today. It's like, give us Aussie dollar. I mean, that would be the gold proxy in currencies. Like, that would be a good one. So, yeah, I'm going to bring that up tomorrow about getting that added or what it would take for us to get that one added. Yep. All right, guys. So, it's 10:14 right now. That was the last of the pairs for today. Whoops. Blew that one up. There we go. We'll go back over to Aussie. So, yeah. So, Aussie's completing that. So, let's go ahead and do our drawing. I have to pull all these things back up. Where'd it go? There we go. Let's pull drawing up over here. All right, get into the drawing. You guys know what to do. Exclamation point ticket to be able to get in. It is at 16 right now. I will give you guys 1 minute. That should be plenty to get in. Wealth Builder was the winner last week, or he was the last winner, so he would get 100 pip chips tonight if he was able to take it. There you go. You guys got 45 seconds. We'll see how that one goes. Ernest is buying tickets at the end. It's funny. Ernest wins. Everyone's like, oh, no. I'm putting everything down. Wealth Builder, and they're like, yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah. You like that, Ernest? All right, 15 seconds to go. Bunch of haters. I know, right? It's so funny. Ernest, you care about the dollar Swiss? Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go. I always have to do that. And you know what? It's funny. Every time I hit that button, the first thing I do is I have to look over and see if I got to see who's going to put it and who's going to miss it, right? I know you guys love to snipe it. So, no Wealth Builder tonight. So, Wealth Builder cannot take 2 in a row. So, let's see this week who's starting the trend off, okay? Winner of tonight's drawing is Debbie. I'm telling you guys. Well, look at this. Debbie was in with 2. Debbie was trying really, really hard to win tonight. And who's battling her? James. So, Debbie takes it. So, that means you guys have to make sure that you attend tomorrow because maybe Debbie, and I told you guys before, my bet is one of the girls has taken the first double. And it looks like Debbie, whoops, not that one. Looks like Debbie could be the first winner. Look at this. Go Debbie. One of the girls is taking it. Yeah, with 22%. She bought 2 tickets. She was smart. She was smart, guys. She's no dumb lady. She's like, nobody's buying 2 tonight. I'm going to buy 2 and double my odds. Forget this 11% stuff. I'm going in for 22. All right, guys. I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys. Don't forget, tomorrow at 12 noon, I'll be back on for Nadex tomorrow. And then, again, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. You guys take care, and I'll catch you then.